Good morning, and welcome to Greenville Junior High School and our ARIS experience. Before we get started this morning, I'm sorry, I've been sick. Could you please turn your phones to airplane mode? I have the privilege this morning of honoring a group of young minds here in the room who responded to our query, if you could ask an astronaut anything, what would it be? There were hundreds of questions submitted by students at GES, GJHS, and even one high school-age ham operator. From those, 20 were selected by the committee. As I read your name, please stand up. Let's hold our applause until all the names are read. Grade 3, Camden Groves, Ezra Jefferson, Easton Lindley, Kyra Shoemaker, Grade 4, Araya Blake, Abel Inglis, Grade 5, Zachary Brown, Rebecca Hamilton, Dean Harley, Grade 6, Elena Dothager, Emmy Graham, Ethan Van, Grade 7, Emmy Coling, Elise Plant, Mackenzie Truss, Grade 8, Zachary Hurley, Titus Jefferson, Emery Joyner, Colin Thompson, and from the high school, Lucas Simmons. Let's all show these students our appreciation for their good questions. During our moments of actual contact this morning, we will be projecting a slideshow with the names, pictures, and questions as they are shared. The students here on the stage asking the questions to astronaut Don Pettit have either earned their ham radio licenses or are actively working towards it. We are incredibly proud of the dedication and hard work you've put in. At this time, I would like to introduce Jackie Bloomer.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jackie Bloomer, and I teach 6th grade Earth and Space Science here at the junior high school. I want to recognize the efforts of those on my ARIS team. They are Donna Harvey, Sabrina Ravisky, Brittany Lavini, and Ann Langham. We are so thrilled to have you all here with us today. While we don't want to take any time away from the wonderful things in store for our students this morning, our team needs to extend our heartfelt gratitude to a few key players who have made this event possible. Thank you so much to the Okaw Valley Amateur Ham Radio Club. They are the guys that you see in red in front of me and over to the side over here. But I have to mention John King, Ken Norris, Rex Catron, Carrie Holman, and Dale Deverick. You guys would not believe the amount of hours these gentlemen have invested in our students to help them obtain their ham radio licenses. And also, without them, this event would not be technically possible. This year is the club's 50th anniversary and their second time helping us with an ARIS contact. What a gift you truly are to us. Thank you to BCCU2, specifically our tech department, Mark, Corey, and CJ, the maintenance department, the school board, administrators, superintendent, and teachers. I didn't realize you were going to clap after me. I would also like to thank Greenville University, who are filming today and live streaming for us. Thank you very much. I need to specifically thank AIAA, Limitless Space Institute, and all those who have donated time, money, or energy to the STEM Club, and those individuals are sitting over here along with parents. So thank you very much. Opportunities like this today would not be possible without your help. Finally, thank you to Tanya Anderson, Frank Bauer, the whole ARIS organization, and especially our mentors, Gordon Scannell and Jeremy DeMarco. We are glad that you chose us, trusted us, and helped the dream come alive. Thanks to Liam Kennedy for sending us live images and videos taken on board the ISS Wednesday morning as they flew over the St. Louis area using the SIN camera. Those are also some of the images that you might see scrolling on the ISS above that's located to my right. This device shows us where the ISS is. When you see the flashing lights, which you over here probably won't be able to see it, but you on this side of the gym will, there's a little box down there that will start flashing, and that will show us that the ISS is getting close to us. So at that time, I will need you in the room to be absolutely silent. Now, allow me to introduce our amazing guest speaker. John Schaffner is a lifelong space enthusiast. He is passionate about advocating for STEM careers. While he has worn many hats, businessman, race car driver, adventurer, and athlete, the most important to us today is astronaut. Mr. Schaffner was a pilot on the Axiom 2 mission. Students, you know him from the videos we've watched. Thank you for flying in today, John. Let's give him a warm Greenville welcome. The stage is yours.
Wow, this is incredible. You know, they said, let's come talk to our ham radio club at the school. So I'm going like, do I talk this way or do I talk to you guys? It's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Greenville, for inviting me, the Greenville schools. Principals Swingler and Bronze, thank you for sharing your facility with us and letting all the students come out of class. And most importantly, thank you, Teacher Bloomer. You've done a marvelous job in promoting STEM and engaging the minds of young people to explore beyond the textbook. And that's what's the important thing is today, is to know how big the world truly is and some of the really cool things that are going on out there. So today, what I want to do, we have two things going on. Actually, three things going on. You're going to get to talk to a space station. Now, how cool is that? Someone orbiting overhead, 250 miles at 17,000 miles an hour, is going to fly almost over Greenville. And with these gentlemen down here, they're going to help make contact with that. And we would be remiss if we didn't stop for a moment and thank the Amateur Radio Club for coming out today, putting all this tech gear together with the help of ARIS, the Amateur Radio on the International Space Station Organization. We need to thank all of these wonderful people that keep this activity alive and keep the action alive on the ISS so we can talk to the ISS. So my thanks to the club, my thanks to ARIS for making all of this possible so you guys can enjoy it. And thank you, Greenville Amateur Radio Club, for getting your ham radio license. It's a wonderful activity. So I want to applaud all of you before we go on, please. This is for you. So as we get set up for this, as we get ready for this really cool thing, and then you can see on the screen, as Teacher Bloomer pointed out, Teacher Jackie, you're going to keep track of the space station as it approaches. And right now, it's about 45 minutes away from being here, and we're going to reach out and talk to astronaut Don Pettit. And I'll introduce you a little more to Don. He's a great friend of mine. I was at his launch in the Soviet Union, actually in Russia. We don't call it Soviet Union anymore. I was in Russia to watch his launch about 3 weeks ago. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what it's like to be an astronaut on the space station, how our training develops, some of the things that we experience, and then also show you what Don is doing to prepare for this contact today. So, are we ready? Go Blue Jays. Okay, first tech glitch. There we go. Okay, that's working. First, this is the mission patch that I wore that I have on today for our mission for AX2. I flew with a really cool crew. I'll share that with you. And we've got Eris, who's responsible for the contact today. The history of Eris was that in 1983, a shuttle pilot, Richard Garriott, carried the first handheld on the space shuttle and made the first amateur radio contact. And that started this whole thing that we should have students and people, private citizens, being able to talk to our astronauts in space. Today we're going to talk to astronaut Don Pettit. Now Don's been in orbit now. Today is his 400th day in orbit, and we're going to celebrate that with him a little bit later. I started my love of space when I was a kid. My sister and I used to play in a trash can, which was our rocket ship. And this was at the very beginning of the space race when we were first launching rockets that looked like this. This is a Gemini launch, the Gemini program, as we were getting ready to put men on the moon. This is what our rocket launches looked like. And what really captivated my attention when I was 10 years old was this picture. And astronaut Ed White did America's first spacewalk. And it was revolutionary. The Russians had already done their spacewalk, the first person to walk in space, so we had to meet the challenge. And our first astronaut was astronaut Ed White. And it was such a powerful image to me as a 10-year-old. That's where I fell in love with space, fell in love with science, and it guided everything that I did the rest of my life. So much so that in art class that year, I painted this picture. This was my art project in the 6th grade of astronaut Ed White. And I still have that picture today. It's in my office. Today, rocket launches look like this. When crew go to the space station or in orbit, they launch on the Falcon 9 SpaceX, and they fly in the Crew Dragon capsule. In our mission, this is what our mission patch looked like, and every crew gets to design their own mission patch. This, I flew with a wonderful commander. All of the images you see are images of STEM education. We have science, technology, engineering, art, and math represented. And we love to include art, so we actually call it STEAM. Maybe we have a STEAM club, because art is the practice of imagination. You have to be able to create something in your mind before you can imagine it and invent it. Any engineer that builds a bridge, builds a rocket, builds a car, has to first create that image in his head of what it should look like. And the creative challenge and skills is the essence of what art is. So we love to call it today STEAM, as in addition to STEM. Our commander for my mission last year, in 2023, was Peggy Whitson. She is America's longest duration astronaut. She has 675 days in space. As a wonderful person, she guided me through all of my training. She was the commander and I was her pilot of the Dragon. And we trained together for about 2 years. We had a wonderful crew. This is our full crew. We had 2 astronauts from Saudi Arabia as part of our crew. This is Renana Barnawi on the left and Ali Arkhani on the right, along with Peggy and I during one of our training flows at Johnson Space Center. And we trained for 2 years in preparation for all of our things on the station. And Don will have done the same thing. Don and NASA astronauts go through the same training flow where they train for specific elements. This is a little video. This shows you some of the fun things we get to do in astronaut training. This is zero-G training, where we get flipped around, spun around. They try to make you sick, typically. That's the whole goal here. See how soon you can get sick. But all the things we do, go to high altitude, test our ability to do without oxygen, what our reactions are, mainly to get us accustomed to many of the things that we might experience. That we have to learn systems, they try to set us on fire, we have to learn to prepare our own food. So there are a lot of really interesting things that are important to being able to live and work in space. It's kind of like being here, it's just that you don't have gravity and you have to keep your food in a plastic bag. So it's not too bad. It takes a lot of people at the Johnson Space Center and at SpaceX to train a crew. We go through lots and lots of simulations. We have full-up simulations where they put us in the capsules and in the training facilities. There's a full built-up space station in full one-to-one scale at the Johnson Space Center where we train inside in all of the modules, learning how they operate, learning what to do if there is a problem, and basically learn what we're going to do during our mission. There are various things that we get assigned to do. There's a lot of science, a lot of outreach, various things. So Peggy and I, being the commander and the pilot, we trained together individually a lot. We did a lot of blood sampling, laboratory work. It was a lot of fun, and we learned a lot. We trained a lot in the Dragon capsule mock-up facility. We learned the systems. Mostly the Dragon it runs by computer, but sometimes computers need a little nudging. You know how sometimes your laptop doesn't actually do what you want it to do. So spaceships are kind of the same way. So we trained as a crew. A lot of it was fun, laborious, and then finally one day you get to, this is one of our more exciting trainings. This is Peggy learning how to hit the target. So for re-entry, you've got to be able to come right back to Earth instead of Jupiter or something. But there is one training, one part of training that's the scariest. Can anybody guess what might be the scariest training that an astronaut goes through? Any guesses? Go ahead, somebody shout it out. Yeah, well, that's pretty good. That would be a scary one indeed. But the scariest training that astronauts, what they fear the most is toilet training. No kidding. This is the toilet that we use on the space station. It's very complicated. It was built by the Russians. It's pretty reliable, but you have to flip all the switches depending on what you want to do, if you know what I mean. And if you are the person that breaks the toilet, and there's only one on the US side, you lose all your friends. So the toilet training is one of the scariest things that we do. We hate it, but it's something that we have to do. This is a picture of the Falcon 9 rocket to show you just how big it is. That's me standing underneath the landing legs. If you've ever seen a Falcon 9 come back and land and it opens its legs at the last minute, here they are, these nice big legs. This is actually the Falcon 9 booster that was the first one to land in 2015, and it's sitting outside the SpaceX headquarters. So it's always fun to go get a selfie in front of the Falcon 9 booster. This is what the inside of the Dragon capsule looks like from the pilot's point of view. It's got a lot of room, it's very spacious. We like it a lot. And then you earn your wings, and you get the right to get a cool picture of yourself in a spacesuit standing on the astronaut walkway. This is the walkway that takes you to the space capsule. So that's what we all work for, to get there to that point right before launch day. And then to get there, the crew, they put you in a helicopter. They've kept you in quarantine for about 2 weeks, playing checkers a lot, eating lots of food, practicing some of the things that you do. We were in quarantine for 2 weeks because we want to be sure none of us have a head cold or a virus that we take up to the space station. So it's important not to give the space station a cold. So we stay in quarantine. And at the end of that, they stick us in a helicopter and they fly us to the Kennedy Space Center, about an hour away. And there's our nice Falcon 9 rocket waiting for us. And this is our vehicle. On top of it is the SpaceX Dragon Freedom, which was our ride to space. And the Dragon's a marvelous, marvelous machine. I'm going to show you later on what Don flew in, the astronaut that we're talking to later. He flew on the Soyuz. So we're going to show you a comparison in a minute between the Soyuz and the SpaceX Dragon. But before I do that, I've got another question. Do you think in orbit, astronauts drink their own pee? Yeah, okay. Oh, well, that's pretty good. You guys are informed. So if we get up in the morning and have a cup of water, how much of that came from our own pee the day before, you think? Okay, I got all a bunch of cool numbers. That's actually, the number is 96%. But they're trying to get it to 100. They really are. Who said 100 over here was pretty close. And the reason for that is water is very, very important, of course, but also water is very heavy. And heavy is expensive to launch. So it's important that when we're in orbit that we recycle everything that has water in it. Even the sweat from working out goes into the air, and the humidity is recirculated through the air conditioning system and collected. If we use a towel to clean up, we hang the towel up and let it dry, let it evaporate, and that moisture is also recollected through the air handling system and comes back as water. But that's usually a small part. So our urine is the most precious part of our cargo all the time, and it gets recycled. Even the Russians bring their urine to us in aluminum cans and goes into the water recycling system. So our coffee in the morning, we drink it probably the same coffee every day during our whole trip. So back to the Dragon. This is the spaceship that astronauts take to space. You see the little man standing there next to it. That gives you a sense of how big it is. It's a wonderful machine. It's very modern. This is a picture of it, actually a drawing, but it's what it looks like in orbit. It's simply beautiful by today's standards. And this is the vehicle that many of you, if you follow a track and you end up going to space, you will likely ride in this spacecraft to go to orbit. And here you go. On the day of launch, something you've been training for a long, long time, here goes your rocket, your Falcon 9, taking you to the space station. And this is your destination. This is what you will be talking with today on ham radio with the help of these gentlemen, the International Space Station. It was built and commissioned. It went into orbit, completed around 1999. Actually, it was still in assembly. It's made up of a lot of parts. This is all the parts of the space station, individual components, and all of those were taken up one by one on the space shuttle. That's why we built the space shuttle, was to be able to take large segments to orbit, and how we built the space station. From there, individual astronauts had to do spacewalks to assemble all of these parts into this thing. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then I want to show you what it looks like as we approach. Here's the first view that an astronaut gets when they are put into orbit as they begin to catch up to the space station. You can see the space station up in the left corner. Do you see the little spot where the space station is? See, it's beautiful. That's the first time we catch a glimpse of it, and we're closing in on it pretty quickly. And then I want you to check this out. When we finally get there, you're looking around. I think we caught it. Are we close enough to the space station yet? And then you look down, and there you see it. We finally caught up to it. We're both traveling 17,500 miles an hour, and we're flying in close formation. And we're moment by moment, meter by meter, we're closing in on the space station. Here's another view of it. It's pretty cool. I couldn't believe it. I took these pictures from the Dragon capsule on an iPad. That's because that's the camera that we had. And it's just dazzling to look at the International Space Station sailing across the Earth, and we're coming up right behind it. And we're going to slip right in there, and we're going to attach ourselves to it. Amazing thing. This is a picture, it's kind of dark on this projection, but Woody Hoberg, an astronaut on the space station while we were approaching, took this picture of our Dragon as it kind of moved in. So you can just barely see it there. Not a great way to look at it, but another marvelous, marvelous picture. And finally, after we dock, this is a picture of our Dragon when we docked to the mating port on the station. So as I look through these pictures, I just get excited thinking about my time being there, the training that got us there, and all the fun we had as a crew preparing ourselves to go to space. And then we get to open the hatch, and we pop out like kids on Christmas morning. Here we are. This is our crew, Peggy, Ali, Rihanna, and me, as we pop out of the Dragon capsule for the first time. And we're met by a wonderful, wonderful crew of our Russian and American friends. This is the station crew that was there and greeted us as we came out of the Dragon, and we got our first group picture for the space station. The Soyuz capsule takes 3 astronauts, and as you know, the Dragon takes 4. So when we go there, there are already 4 NASA astronauts and 3 Russian astronauts. So there's 7 plus our 4. There's a crew of 11 on the station during our time on the space station. This is a funny picture. It shows that in space, you can work anywhere you want. You can just stop, take a break, take some notes. This is a picture where you see that you can work truly anywhere you want. You can use the ceiling. We don't really call it the ceiling. We call it the overhead. Peggy's down on the floor or on the deck doing something, and you see Ali way back in the back doing something. He's probably checking his Instagram account. But anyway, there's no up, there's no down. If you close your eyes, you have no idea if you are up or down, and it simply doesn't matter. The brain doesn't care. Now, the space station's been up there for 22 years, and is rather congested, and it does a lot of work. You can see here, this is the U.S. laboratory, and when you look down the length of the lab, you look at all the equipment and all the wiring and it looks like it's a mess, but it's really not. The training that you have, and when you go and you interact with it on each activity, everything makes sense. All the cabling and all the wiring, is properly labeled, and you can see, what's actually happening. And sometimes you can just stop and sit and hang out, and that's kind of a fun part. Or you can hang out with a friend. So this is Rihanna and I. We used to like to take a break together. We'd go to the cupola, but you just stop and sit and hang out. This is a shot inside the cupola. This is where everyone goes to get a real nice picture. And this is a picture. When you see all those great pictures of Earth, they're taken from this particular segment of the space station called the cupola. It's where all the windows are, and it looks straight down on the Earth. So there's a lot of views, a lot of windows in lots of directions. I'll back up. This will show you a quick drop-in view. So you can go to the cupola, and when you drop into the cupola, the world changes for you. This is what an astronaut has for a view. And because we're going around the world in 90 minutes, every 45 minutes we get a sunrise and a sunset. Happens every day, all day long. Our work days are a normal 8 to 5 on our watch, but the sun comes up and goes down every 45 minutes. And you get these marvelous, marvelous views from orbit. Just a few pictures that I took during my time up there. Pictures of the Earth. So if you have any flat earther friends, you can take some of these with you. And it's just a marvelous view. I want you to look at this picture for a moment. Then we'll move on pretty quickly because we're going to run short on time. This is a sunrise, and it happens very, very quickly, so you have to be quick. And you see the blue streak. That is the entire thickness of the Earth's atmosphere. That's all you've got. It's lit up there for just a moment, and this is our only chance to see the true thickness of what protects the Earth. It's pretty amazing. Now, if you wonder how far the space station is from Earth, if you took a basketball as the Earth and a softball as the moon, and you put a 30-foot string between them and stretched them out, that would represent a scale orbital distance for the moon, softball and the moon at 30 feet. Where would the space station be along that string? Any quick guesses? 3/16 of an inch. And it's there because it's called low Earth orbit. Because again, getting things to orbit is expensive. So we don't need to go very far to get out of the Earth's atmosphere. We just have to be out of the Earth's atmosphere so that we can stay in orbit, and it only takes 250 miles. So when you compare that to the distance of the moon, we're just barely skimming around the Earth, just barely flying. So we continue to get great pictures. And one fun thing, where do you think astronauts sleep? Yeah, anywhere we want. That's right. Is that somebody said that? This is a really quick thing. You can sleep on the ceiling. We use a sleeping bag, or you can sleep on the wall, or you can sleep on the floor. You just curl up. Usually, you need to tie yourself to something so you don't float down the hallway. But that's the way it works in space. And when astronauts like to play in space, we can play games. We can goof around because we don't have gravity. That's one of the coolest things. We can do our exercises at any position. We can scoot around and go grab something in a hurry. And you can show off by showing your friends how many flips you can do. Or you can say, see you later. Now, when it's time to come home, it's a sad day. It's a lot of the time to go to space. When you get to space, you spend a day unpacking your Dragon capsule. Then you spend a lot of time working, and then before you leave, it comes pretty quick, and you got to spend a day packing up all your stuff. It's kind of like going to your grandmother's house for a week. It takes a day to get all settled in, and then you're getting ready the day before. So, but when you come back, you're traveling at 17,500 miles an hour, so you have to slow down to 0. That's like hitting the brakes. And when you hit the brakes on a car, they get really hot, right? So when a Dragon capsule puts on the brakes, it uses the thick atmosphere of the Earth. We slow down and let gravity pull us down into the atmosphere. And then, like sticking your hand out of a car window, you feel the pressure. Well, a Dragon does the same thing. It starts hitting that pressure, but it heats up because air heats it up. And this is what a Dragon capsule looks like coming back to Earth. And I can tell you, when you're on the inside of that, it looks pretty cool. All the fire and flames are going by the window, but it's really smooth, and it's a really, really fun experience. And then we get a nice parachute ride coming back down, splashed down in the water, and the wonderful people at SpaceX are waiting for us with their boats. We landed in the Gulf of Mexico in Florida, and then they pick us up, put us on the boat. And here which was a nice, clean, shiny, white Dragon spaceship 10 days ago now looks like a toasted marshmallow. And one interesting thing is right before we come back into orbit, you saw all those flames. We have to turn on the air conditioning really hard for a couple of hours before we do that on the inside to pre-chill the Dragon, and it gets really cold. That's because it's going to get really hot if we don't. So here we've got a nice smoky, toasty Dragon capsule, and what pops out? Brand new astronauts, toasty from their flight in space. And we have to learn how to walk again. It takes about a week to learn how to walk right. But such a wonderful, wonderful experience. So that was kind of a quick look through at some of the training that we do as we go to space. Now, today, the main event. I want to run you through really quickly what our wonderful astronaut Don Pettit is going to experience. And our friends here from the Amateur Radio Club are going to help us make contact, and along with the help of the ERIS organization, will show us how this works really quickly. ERIS was started in actually not ERIS, but the first amateur contact was 1983 by astronaut Richard Garriott that took a handheld radio to space and made the first contact from the space shuttle. Since then, NASA has helped and allowed that program to expand. The ERIS organization was formed, and they put a permanent radio on the space station in order to make contact with people on Earth. And it's important for 3 reasons. Can you think of 3 reasons why that might be important? I'll go ahead and tell you, but there's probably a lot of great reasons. But the first one is it serves as an emergency radio for astronauts, because there was an accident on the Mir station in the 90s where there was a fire and it temporarily knocked out power to communications. And ham radio was the only way the U.S. astronaut that happened to be on the Mir had communication with Earth. That was important. Another reason is things like this. It gives us something to make a connection to space and to practice the wonderful activity of amateur radio. A third important reason is it's a wonderful, wonderful psychological benefit to the astronauts who work very hard all day long, and this represents a contact with normal people. You know, it's not mission control telling them what to do. It's like talking to your teacher all day long. You know, finally a friend comes to the window and you have a conversation, in the hallway. So ERIS provides a wonderful service to both NASA, the astronauts, and to us, letting us join in some of the fun and feel like we are a part of spaceflight. Today we're going to talk to astronaut Don Pettit. Don has been an astronaut for over 20 years. This is his 3rd flight to space, and today we have a very, very special part of his flight to be a part of. Today is his 400th day in space. 400. Accumulated over all of these flights. We're just lucky that this ERIS contact today happens to be on that particular day. So we're going to, in a moment, we're going to talk about a congratulation, how we're going to congratulate Don. But Don's a wonderful guy. He's been a friend of mine. He helped me during my training. We did lots of work together. This is Don's mission patch that he is flying. He is Expedition 72 from the U.S. segment, but he's also part of, because he flew up on a Russian mission, he also has a Russian patch. And on the left is the Russian patch for this mission. This is Don and his lovely wife, where they live in Houston, Texas, by the Johnson Space Center. And this is the rocket Don launched on last month. This is a Soyuz. And Soyuz uses the same name for the booster and the capsule, where SpaceX calls the Dragon and then the Falcon 9. This is the Soyuz booster that Don launched on. Here's Don doing one of the most favorite things he loves. He helped me doing a lot of camera training. Don loves pictures. That's what he is most known for in space, and he has taken some amazing pictures from orbit. Maybe you've seen some of them. I'll take some of them here. This is a time lapse that Don has taken from space. You see a couple of Soyuz spacecraft hanging underneath the space station, and what you see below you are the streaks of cities going by. And those little blue puffy things, those are thunderstorms. And in the background, those vertical stripes going up and down are the stars during a time lapse, the rotation of the stars. Here's another picture of the Earth below, the cities going by, the blue colors going by, and the aurora in the background. That's actually that green and yellow streak. That's the aurora seen from space. And then, of course, he's looking straight north at the Polaris North Star, so you see the rotational circle of the stars. So that's what Don loves. Here's a real quick video. When I was in Russia, they let us watch the rollout of Don's capsule. This is the Soyuz rocket being pulled out of the assembly facility in Baikonur, Kazakhstan, where Don launched from. This was 2 days before his launch. They let all of us go out and watch them pull Don's big rocket out. It's actually a really cute thing. It's very, very big. It's just under 200 feet long. It has 30 engines on it. 6 of those are steering engines, the little ones you see, but it has 4 side-mounted liquid-powered thruster packages that drop off. And then Don's capsule is located inside this white part right here. That's a shroud that pops off later in the launch and to expose the capsule. And on top is the launch escape rocket, that rocket that will pull him away if there's a problem. Here's a comparison of a Falcon 9 rocket launch on the right and what a Soyuz launch on the left looks like. They're both going straight up. That's the one similarity. But they're different engines. The Falcon 9 has 9 boosters, 9 motors, and the Soyuz has primarily 24 main engines. This is how they raise a Falcon 9 to stand it up before flight. They take it out of the assembly building just like you saw the Soyuz. Then the strong back arm lifts it in position. And here's a video of the Soyuz rocket. They let us get this close in Russia and watch them stand it up, put it in position before they put the astronauts on it. And they stand it up about 2 days before launch so that they can check it out, then they put fuel in it, then they go get the astronauts. And there's a picture of Don on the day of launch, walking out of the crew building with his crewmates. And he's all suited up. He's headed toward the bus that's going to take him to the launch pad, which is about 3 miles away. Now what I'm going to show you is a comparison of the Dragon capsule to what Don rode in, what the Soyuz looks like. 2 different, very successful vehicles. This is the inside of the Dragon capsule. It's Peggy on the left and I'm on the right. This is our beautiful view, lots of room. This is what Don sits in. When I was in Russia, they let us get in Don's capsule for a minute. So that's the tightness, that's the difference in the inside. And here's what the Dragon has. It's like we can play basketball in the Dragon capsule. Nice and big, plenty of room. So, the contact. Eris has installed equipment on the Dragon. We're getting pretty close. I'm going to run through this pretty quickly, but we're coming up to the contact moment. It happens at 9:29, so we're about 10 minutes away. But Eris has equipment which is located in the space station. It's in the Columbus module, which is located here. The station will fly over us today, 250 miles above us, at 17,500 miles an hour, and it'll have a footprint to communicate with people of for about 10 minutes. That represents about a 10-minute length. We'll be using a setup which is on the roof of your building that looks about like this. This is actually the one I use when I talk to the space station. We've got a couple of different antennas because we use one frequency to go up and we listen on another frequency coming down. And there are motors that will turn and track the station as it moves across the sky so that the radios can stay in contact. And Don will have talking on this radio. This is me during my contact. This is in the Columbus module using the Kenwood radio. And really quickly, what Don will hear and experience.
Hey, there's a lot of great science that goes on here on the
I'll play this
ISS.
with you.
Let's go find some and make it fun, shall we? But first, I have a question for you. What did Neil Armstrong say when no one laughed at his moon jokes? Well, I guess you had to be there. Well, anyway, today let's talk about something really fun, ham radio. It's one of the world's most popular hobbies. It's even used as disaster relief in most countries around the world. So you'd think if something were this popular, maybe it would be on the ISS also. So let's take a look today at ham radio on the ISS. Okay, very nice. Give my friend a good hello if you know him.
Best wishes, Godspeed to you.
So I'm here in the Columbus module. This is where we keep the ARIS equipment, the ham radio equipment. We make contacts with people all over the world. You know, I got my ham license when I was 13 years old. Back then, we used Morse code only. Here on station, we use 2-meter voice, and it works really, really well.
Just like the radio you see in cars, amateur radio uses a transceiver and an antenna to pick up and send out radio signals that carry communication to other radio devices listening on a particular frequency.
Because the space station has a very popular call sign, when we reach out, there's a lot of people ready to talk to us. One problem is we're traveling at 17,500 miles an hour around the Earth, so we're only over one place on Earth for a few moments. So we have to be quick. Today we're going to try to reach Middlesbrough Middle School, you know, where I grew up, but we're actually over Europe. So we've got an Italian ground station going to relay it to Middlesbrough. Let's see if it works. IK1SLD, OR4 ISS.
Good afternoon, John. Happy delivery to ground station calling for a scheduled direct contact. Do you copy, John? Over.
Yes, I read you loud and clear. Very nice to hear you. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. The first question, please.
Hello, my name is Trey Ray. Can you describe your initial emotions since your entry into space and docking to the station? Over.
Hi, Trey. Wow, it was just real pure excitement. Yeah, I came on board the space station, and it was like, wow, it looks just like the pictures, only better. A lot of fun, and the rocket ride here was even more fantastic. Good luck, Middlesbrough. It's been wonderful talking to you guys.
Well, that was it. That's what Don is going to be doing with us today. He's using the same radio in the same spot. He's going to hear the questions from our students, and he's going to hear the excitement. And what you've just seen, all of this process, this is the culmination of America's 60 years of developing human spaceflight. And we've been up there now on the space station doing research, technical development, preparing for our next step out into the universe. And this represents the next step forward. And many of you today, many of you here, who have an idea about space, the space industry or technology, this represents your stepping stone, your path forward. This will be your next ride to space if you choose to go that way. So I hope many of you will think through the process of how you might get involved and work with your teachers, your parents, and your community members. If you have questions or desire to learn more, raise your hand, step forward. So that's what we're doing in the future of the space industry and for the world. You are the people. In 20 years you'll be running this planet, so you're in charge. It's whatever you want to do with it, it's up to you. We've got about 2 or 3 minutes. Really quickly, do you have something to do, or do you want to do the practice? Okay. Now, as I said, today is Don's 400th day in space. He doesn't know I'm here exactly, which is kind of cool. So, but we're going to practice something because I want everyone to congratulate him together at a particular point. So, teacher Jackie here is going to help us. When she makes contact with the station and Don answers, then I'm going to ask Don the first question. And at what point during this question, everyone is going to say, "Congratulations, Don." And we're going to practice that real quick, okay? So when we make contact, and Jackie is going to make the first contact, since it's her wonderful communication, is I'll ask Don. I'll say, hi, Don. This is John Schaffner, Kilo Oscar 4, Mike, Juliet, Charlie. I'm here at the Greenville Junior High School today, helping them celebrate your 400th day in orbit. And there you say, perfect. And then you go quiet, and I'll say, and Don, I have a question for you. So, watch Jackie when I'm asking this question. Get ready for the congratulations. Let's do it one more time. Hi, Don. This is John Schaffner, Kilo Oscar 4, Mike, Juliet, Charlie. I'm here at the Greenville Junior High School today, helping them celebrate your 400th day in orbit. Wow. And I have a question, Don. So that's what we'll do. How's that sound? Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Looks like we're ready. Just leave it over there.
Victor, do you copy?
Copy, not very loud, not very clear. Hopefully, as we get above the horizon, it will become better.
Hi, Don. This is John Schaffner, Kilo Oscar 4, Mike, Juliet, Charlie. I'm here at the Greenville Junior High School today, helping them celebrate your 400th day in orbit. Wow, I hope you got that. We got 400 plus students here congratulating you. And I've got a question, Don. Why should students today consider a role for themselves in the future of space exploration? Over.
And in the ham radio pass.
Hi, this is Nolan, KD9ZYW. What was it like when your rocket left the launch pad? Over.
When a rocket leaves the launch pad, you know you are going somewhere, and you know you're going somewhere fast. Over.
Hi, this is Mylan, KE9AAF. What advice would you give to a kid who wants to be an astronaut? Over.
You study hard in school for the fun subjects like math and science and engineering, all the cool things. And then you can become an astronaut. Over.
Hi, this is Ezra, KE9AAR. How did being in space the first time compare to learning about space and seeing pictures of it? Over.
Being in space for the first time is amazing. Our training is very good so that you understand how to operate the spacecraft and all the equipment. But the physical experience of being weightless is something that you cannot train for on the ground, and you just have to experience it. Over.
Hi, this is Lucas, K9CYO. What happens to the trash on the ISS? Over.
We pack all our trash in our cargo vehicles that burn up in the atmosphere. So in essence, we recycle our trash as it burns up and ends in the Pacific Ocean. Over.
Hi, this is Ryder, KD9ZXT. What are some daily struggles that happen in space but not on Earth? Over.
One struggle that we have on space is how to deal with all the little tiny pieces like small nuts and bolts and little bits of trash and things like that, because they tend to float all around. Big things like the size of a refrigerator, easy to handle in space. Over.
Hi, this is Jackson, KD9ZZY. What is one thing that you've always wanted to achieve as an astronaut? Over.
The primary thing you want to achieve as an astronaut is to fly in space, and once you fly in space once, you want to fly in space again and again and again, and that's why I'm here on my 4th mission. Over.
Hi, this is Elise, KE9BLO. What is the most challenging part of your job? Over.
The most challenging part of the job is being away from your family on Earth. Over.
Hi, this is Grady, KE9BLP. What do you do for fun on the station? Over.
Most people do space station what they do for fun when they are on Earth. What I like to do is more educational demonstrations and science projects on my own from stuff that I can just find on space station. Over.
Hi, this is Emery, KE9BLV. What is astronaut training like? Over.
Astronaut training is like going back to college again. It takes 2 years to go through training full-time the year round, which is about equal to a 4-year college degree. And you have study, and you have tests, and you have to work really hard when you become an astronaut. Over.
Hi, this is Aubrey, KE9BLW. What is one food you have had in space that you wish you could take home? Over.
I wish I could take home some of the freeze-dried food that we have that comes from our Russian partners. They have a food called OVARC, which we have no counterpart in the United States, and it is very good. Over.
Hi, this is Veer, KE9BLU. Is it physically or emotionally painful getting to and from space? Over.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it painful. It certainly is an emotional ride to go in space and then see Earth for the first time. And then it's emotional to come back because you get to see your family after having been gone for 6 months or more. Over.
Hi, this is Bethany, KE9BLQ. What encouraged or inspired you to be an astronaut? Over.
I first thought of becoming an astronaut when I saw John Glenn go in orbit on the Mercury spacecraft, and then I studied really hard in school and realized that I could become an astronaut. Over.
Hi, this is Griffin. Was experiencing zero gravity the first time how you expected it? Over.
Experiencing gravity for the first time is just something that you have to experience. You can describe it with words, but that just doesn't do it. So I recommend that you study hard in school, become an astronaut, and then you too can experience gravity for the first time, or experience weightlessness for the first time. Over.
Hi, this is Jackson. Does it feel like the days are longer with time is slow in space? Over.
Days move really quickly in space. We work really hard. We have a full schedule, and you start in the morning, and the next thing you know, it's evening time, and it's time to eat dinner and go to bed. Over.
Hi, this is Jay, KD9ZXU. If you had to choose one word to describe space, what would it be? Over.
An amazing place. Over.
Hi, this is Eli, KD9WQZ. What do you do if a member of the team gets sick or injured up there? Over.
If somebody gets sick or injured, we have a full medical capability here, similar to what would be available in an ambulance or an EMT. And then we have NASA flight surgeons available to talk to if we need anything more than that. Over.
Hi, this is Ella, KE9BLR. How long does it take for a radio signal to get down to Earth? Over.
We are only 240 miles above Earth, so at the speed of light which radio signals go, it doesn't take long, a fraction of a second. However, we communicate through TETRA satellites in geostationary orbit about 24,000 miles away and back, so the delay is about a second to a second and a half.
Hi, Don. This is a redo. This is John Schaffner, Kilo Oscar 4, Mike Juliet Charlie. I'm at the Greenville Junior High today, helping them celebrate your 400th day in orbit. And I've got a question for you, but I'm going to pass it on to a young lady here who has the last question. Congratulations, Don.
Do you personally think humans will live on other planets someday? Over.
I think it is inevitable for human beings to live on other planets. And the moon is not considered a planet, but it is a planetary body close to Earth, and that's going to be the first place that human beings live and work for long periods of time, sort of like what we do in Antarctica. And then the next planet will be Mars. Over.
Do stars look different in space? Over.
Stars do look different in space. They don't twinkle because we are above the atmosphere, and the twinkling is caused by our atmosphere. And the stars have more color that you can see with your eyes in space than you can when you are on Earth. Over.
Don, this is John again. What advice would you give, and why should students today consider a future in space exploration? Over.
A future in space exploration is simply because it is exploration, and it is one of the frontiers that really captivates human minds. And we need all kinds of people in space. Initially, it will be people with backgrounds in science and math and engineering, but we need to get poets and artists and musicians up in space so that they can experience what it means to be in an orbital environment. Over.
KD9, NA9SS, this is Alpha Delta 9 Ocean Victor. My name is John, I'm W9KXQ, and thank you for making the contact with us today. 7-3.
And I really appreciate this ham radio contact and having all these students wishing me my 400th day in orbit. NA1SS out.
7-3.
Steal the thunder, but wow, wasn't that amazing? So there's a couple of people up here that you need to thank. Mrs. Bloomer, Donna, where's Donna? Here somewhere. She's way over here. They worked really hard to make this come off, and this whole team of people you see here in front of me, they have done all the work to make this a possibility. My job was just to stand up here and take the beatings. So, and I know from my own experience in life, I would always like to know what's going on. Why were they running around there at the last minute? Well, we had some radio interference that we tracked down and contacted an amateur that's 70 miles from here, and he was able to shut it down remotely. So just one of the amazing things we do in amateur radio. It's a lot of fun, and I would be remiss if I didn't recognize my granddaughter, Cameron. Cameron was one of the kids that got to talk to the space station 13 years ago. It's just my honor to have her here. Thanks. After all the questions were answered, I think we need to turn this over to Jackie, and she can close it out.
Well, what Don said at the very end was true. We need everyone to help take us forward into space and to space exploration. And it's not just what it does for space, it does for the great technology that we develop that helps us and provides improvements here on Earth. Whether that's medically or technically or all the great things that come of that, when we work hard and achieve something that works in space, it works for us on Earth. So let's push forward, let's have a great time, improve that education, ask questions, and just get curious. Thank you all. Thank you for having me.
Incredible Eris experience. You've not only connected with astronauts on board the International Space Station, but we've also sparked curiosity and excitement in our students, inspiring them to explore future careers in STEM, hopefully. A special thank you to Axiom 2 astronaut John Schaffner, and all of our supporters for making this opportunity possible. Today is just the beginning of what our students can achieve. This concludes our event here. Mr. Bronze is going to dismiss you to go back to the classrooms to continue your learning. These 6th, 7th, and 8th graders have prepared amazing lessons for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. So they're going to teach you. They get to become the teachers and teach you some space lessons. So thank you very much. If the special guests and press would stay in the gym, I would appreciate it, but everybody else can dismiss as